What's going on, Canes fans, and welcome to episode number 7 of Walking and Venting with Coop. This series is exactly what it sounds like it is. It's me walking along the edge of my property while we vent about a hot topic when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes. And boy, do we have a hot, debatable topic today. And some of you guys are going to be upset because you're going to say, Coop, why are you bringing up attendance talk again? Why are we talking about the stadium once again? You're beating a dead horse. You sound like a broken record. We've discussed this time and time again, and you're right. We have. But there's a very important reason why I want to discuss this again today, and it's because I tweeted about the Tennessee-Alabama game. And I posted up a picture on Twitter of the fans storming the field, and a lot of people were commenting saying, man, Coop, I wish we could have an atmosphere like that. Coop, I hope one day Hard Rock will be like that, or wherever we end up playing. I want it to feel like that when I go to a Miami game. And my reply to that was, I don't think we'll ever have that. And so many people jumped back in on that and they said, yes, we will, Coop. All we have to do is win. Yes, we will, Coop. Once we get that stadium you've been talking about with John Ruiz, yes, we will. We will have that type of atmosphere. And I'm here to say that I do not think we will ever consistently, hear me out, we will never consistently have that type of atmosphere. Our attendance issues will never consistently be fixed. We'll never always be up there, sellout crowd. It just won't happen unless a couple of really big things happen. So we're going to dive in and discuss it a little bit this afternoon and talk about it. I'm going to tell you why, and then I'm also going to tell you what I think might happen or could happen that could possibly fix some of those issues. And I want to see some participation down in the comment section, but please just hear out my points before you leave a comment. I'm not always right. I don't pretend to always be right. And some of you guys bring up some really valid points and some good counter arguments. And I'm looking forward to seeing those, but at least hear me out before you type a comment down there. So right out of the gate, the first thing I want to talk about, and one of the reasons why I think we won't ever be able to fix our attendance issues, is the fact that Miami is a private university, which means we have less students. And what I'm going to do is, I live in Tennessee. So let's use Tennessee several times in this video as something to compare us to. And I realize some people are going to say, Coop, it's apples to oranges. But let's just use it as a baseline since I live here and it makes it easier to talk about and discuss. So, you know, the University of Miami has what, 12,000 students? But my argument here is that also means potentially less lifelong fans. Because usually whenever you attend a university, it doesn't mean that you're a fan, but it has the opportunity to create more lifelong fans. So people that end up rooting for Miami for the rest of their life because they went to school there. And when you just want to look at the numbers, less people attend the University of Miami, which equals potentially less lifelong fans. It happens. I know people that did attend the University of Miami that were fans of other schools, but they still also root for Miami and go to Miami games because they attended school there. So it just makes sense, right? So less lifelong fans with that. Also, number 2, I'm going straight through them today, no small talk. Number 2, the reason why I think that we won't fix our attendance issues and we can't continue to just sell out consistently is look at the caliber of opponents that Miami plays. We're in the ACC, and you know, maybe if you want to look at the Atlantic, Clemson, I guess you could have argued NC State, but they're kind of on a skid. The Coastal, man, we're playing teams like Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia Tech. Where are those big time games consistently every single season? Look at, again, let's use them as an example. Tennessee, they're regularly playing Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Big time matchups that pull numbers and get fans excited. It's hard to get excited, just be honest. It is hard to get excited when Virginia rolls into Hard Rock Stadium. It is tough to be hyped up when Georgia Tech pulls up to South Florida. It's not that same level of hype. It's hard to create a really exciting atmosphere for a game like that. And I'm just going to keep it real. As someone who lives in Tennessee, I consider myself a die-hard, ride-or-die Canes fan. Support Miami no matter what, through everything. If Miami, a 3-3 Miami is going to play a 3-3 Virginia, it is tough for me to justify spending $800 to $1,000 to make a trip down to South Florida to watch that game. I'm just keeping it real and being blunt and honest, which is what this series is about. Keep that in mind. Now, I know people are going to be like, Coop, dang, $800 to $1,000. But if I drive down there, look at gas prices right now, look at the cost to stay in a hotel for 2 or 3 nights, plus game tickets, plus you got to eat. And like I said, I've done it before. I'm coming down later this season. But you have to understand there are people that it would be even further than that. Look at Canes fans that are in California, all the way on the other side of the country. It's tough to justify spending that money when you can just stay at home and watch it in the comfort of your own home, watch it on TV, just chill. And, again, if we were consistently playing big-time teams, like imagine if Miami was in the SEC. And I know that I preached about, I don't want to go to the SEC yet, but it's because I wanted to win an ACC title first. But look at all of these SEC schools with these big-time opponents on their schedule every single season. Now, the problem for Miami is they're going to say, well, Miami can't compete with those types of teams because we're losing to those Virginia teams and those Georgia Tech teams. And you're right. But over time, don't we talk about, iron sharpens iron? At some point, something would have to break, or we would have to get with the program and get better. If we were consistently playing those guys, we say we play down to the level of our competition. Well, if we were in the SEC, we would consistently play higher level competition, which means at some point we got to get better, right? We would have to, or we'd just have to scrap this whole thing. I don't know what else to say. So it's tough because we don't play these big time opponents season after season. The Coastal is an absolute mess, man. The biggest games that we play are typically when we play ACC teams from the Atlantic, Clemson, Florida State. I hate to say it, but it's true. All these other lesser opponents we play, it's whatever. It's hard for people to get hyped for those. Like I said, I'm just keeping it real. So moving to the SEC is one of those things where I say it could potentially be a solution. Miami regularly plays some of those bigger schools like that, creates more hype, equals more attendance. Another argument that I find interesting is when people say, well, Coop, how do you explain when Tennessee sells out a game and they're playing a school like UT Martin? Most of you guys probably don't even know what that school is or where it's located. My counter argument to that is most Tennessee fans live in Tennessee. Most Alabama fans live in Alabama. Most Georgia fans live in Georgia. They're in the surrounding area. And I personally feel like that Canes fans are more just scattered all across the country. Now, I'm sure there is a large portion of Canes fans that do live in Florida, down in South Florida especially. But I've been to Florida multiple times, and I see just as many Florida Gator fans and Florida State fans as I see Miami fans. When you come here in Tennessee, I live 30 minutes from Neyland Stadium, guys. Everybody here is wearing Tennessee shirts. Like I said, there's always exceptions to this. There's a few Alabama and Georgia fans, South Carolina fans, scattered in there. But overall, everything here is Tennessee. You go to Walmart, all the cookie cakes and the cupcakes, decorated in Tennessee. You walk through any store, it's Tennessee shirts, Tennessee gear everywhere. I went down to Miami, walked into Walmart. I saw one Miami shirt, maybe. Nobody around was rocking Miami gear. Here I walk into a store, at least every other person has on a Tennessee Vols shirt. Everyone is concentrated right here in the area. You go to Middle Tennessee, Tennessee Vol fans. West Tennessee, Tennessee Vol fans. When I go to Florida, the thing is, guys, Miami has to compete with the Florida Gators. I know that we hate them, but they have a big following. Also got to compete with Florida State. I know we hate them. They have a big following. Who do the Tennessee Volunteers have to compete with in the state of Tennessee? Who else? Memphis? Like, come on, bro. Who else does Georgia have to compete with? Georgia Tech? Come on, bro. So it is tough out there for Miami. And again, we go back to being a small private school. So it's tough for us to have a ton of fans located closer right there to the stadium, which would more easily put butts into seats. Because like I said, Miami fans are having to travel from everywhere. I got to come from Tennessee. I know people in California. I know people in New York. And again, if it's not a big time game, I already said this, but it's tough to spend that kind of money to travel all the way down to South Florida. Here in Tennessee, people can drive 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, and they're right there. All the fans are already right here. And that brings me up to another point. This is the one I want to squash this one, bro. We're going to talk about this, and this is going to get some people upset, and they're not going to like my opinion on this. Saying that there is more to do in Miami than just go watch football and that there's nothing to do around here is a BS excuse in my opinion. And I'll tell you why. Is there more to do in Miami than there is to do here in Tennessee where I live? Oh yeah, of course, definitely. I mean, everything's more compact. It's all right there. And here everything's a little more scattered out. But to say that there is literally nothing else to do here than go watch the Tennessee Volunteers play football is a lie. Around here, people like to go fishing. They like to go to the lake, just like people in Florida like to go to the ocean. They like to go to the races. There's a racetrack on every single block, every corner around here, and it's jam-packed every single Saturday night. People like to go hiking. People like to go up to the mountains. And I know you're going to say, well, Coop, that doesn't compare to going clubbing. Or Coop, that doesn't compare to going to the ocean. But just because you don't find those things exciting here, the people that do live here do find them exciting. And there are plenty of them that go do those things instead of going to the football games. I see it, I know it because I live here. And there are areas around here that are packed in. When you go to some of the touristy type areas like Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, you've got clubs in Knoxville a few minutes from the stadium. You've got arcades, you've got tons of different restaurants and things to do. And like I said, guys, I get it. Apples to oranges. Coop, you don't live in Florida. You don't know what you're talking about. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I still think it's a little bit of a BS excuse. I'll give some leeway. There is more to do in Miami than there is to do here. Like I said, I get it. But those of you that live in Florida, are you going to the beach every single Saturday? Tell me that. Are you going to the club every single Saturday? Are you going there? Are you clubbing on a Saturday at 12:30? Highly unlikely. I think that it's a BS excuse in my opinion. I'm just saying it. I'm calling it how I see it. And like I said, you guys can counter my argument down in the comment section if you want to. But there is absolutely plenty of things to do around here. It's just facts. Now, another thing that I will say kind of fixes the attendance issues and whatnot is winning. Of course, winning makes more people excited, creates more hype, and it puts more butts in the seats, 100%. And it would help a lot. I mean, again, this just everything kind of goes full circle here. With a 50% Miami team, it's hard for people to get hyped to go watch them and to want to spend money and travel to Hard Rock Stadium and, you know, spend their afternoon or their night doing that. So winning does fix a lot of the problems. It will help. But still, when you take into account everything else that I just mentioned, we're never going to have an atmosphere like a full-blown college town like Knoxville, Tennessee, or like what Alabama has, or Georgia has. And, you know, I keep mentioning SEC teams, but it's because I live in SEC country. So it's what I know. It's what I'm surrounded by all the time, even though I'm a Miami fan. So winning will help. But, you know, people tell me even back in the day when we were winning games, bro. I'm talking, you know, when we were winning national championships, we were regularly competing. We were playing in the Orange Bowl. People tell me all the time, Coop, I know you weren't around then, but it wasn't always jam-packed. Miami wasn't always selling out. It wasn't a full house. And maybe at times it was. And there's even been exceptions now. 2017 Notre Dame. But look at it. It was a big-time, prime-time matchup. Huge opponent. Both teams were ranked. Look at 2018 against FSU. The Rock was hype, man. It was popping off. But that's a regular in-state rivalry matchup. Those are heated no matter what. No matter what the record is, it doesn't matter. So like I said, there's always exceptions. But then look at right after that immediately, 50% capacity at Hard Rock Stadium, right back to the same old, same old. So even when we start winning, man, I don't think it makes a difference. Even if we do get a new stadium, if John Ruiz comes through and we make this thing happen, initially it will be loaded to the brim with people. Why? Because it's new and shiny and exciting. and everyone wants to experience it at least once and see it for the first time. After that, it'll go right back to more of the same. And it's going to seem like that this walking and venting episode is doom and gloom. Coop's over here bashing Miami fans, and Coop is saying that, just all these negative things. And it's not that. I'm just saying we have to realize the reality of the situation and who and what we are. And we won't have an atmosphere like that consistently. From time to time we will, especially if we're winning. We will. But it won't be every single Saturday. I can hear them singing Rocky Top from my house, and I'm half an hour away. Every single Saturday that Tennessee plays at home, bro. And all I'm saying is we won't have that. And you have to understand that. And the sooner you accept that, the better. Because then it doesn't become this huge issue. We realize that's just who we are. And we still just got to take care of business regardless. It doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying? And maybe I'm wrong, and hopefully I am wrong. But I'm just saying I don't think that's who we are. Consistently selling out on Saturdays is not part of our identity. Is it fixable? Probably not completely. No, for the reasons that I named in this video. Maybe I made some sense this afternoon. Maybe I didn't make any sense at all. I don't know. You guys tell me. I tried to make some notes. You guys didn't see me. I probably cut it out of the video. I tried to make some notes so I could stay on point. But I knew as soon as we started talking about this, I was going to go all sorts of different directions. It doesn't change my love for the Miami Hurricanes. It doesn't matter to me one way or another. You know, Florida fans can poke fun at our attendance. FSU fans make fun of us all the time. I don't really care, just to be honest. Most of the time, I don't even address it because I just know that, that's how it's going to be. Period. And like I said, things can get better. We can draw more of a crowd. And it doesn't mean there aren't that many Miami fans. We're scattered everywhere. I know Miami fans, bro, that message me from Europe. Like, we are everywhere. Our brand does carry weight. But as far as consistently bringing us all together in one place, a.k.a. Hard Rock Stadium, to watch us play Virginia, we're just not going to consistently sell out for stuff like that. It's just not going to happen, y'all. It is what it is. Hey, leave some comments, some counter arguments. We don't all have to get along. Hey, listen, we don't all have to agree. A lot of times people tell me they're scared to leave a comment because they're like, Coop, I don't want to disagree with you. Man, that's what this series is about. Come on, leave me a comment. Let's see some interaction. I don't care if you agree or disagree. Dissect the points that I made. Tell me why I'm right. Tell me why I'm wrong. It's fine. I'm cool with it, y'all. Hey, remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family. But at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. And hey, you know what you guys should do? You know what you should do? You should go check out my merch store in the top link of the description and pick up a Skeleton 305 tee. Look at my man throwing up the 305. For some reason, that's the least popular tee on the merch store, but I love it, man. I think it looks pretty cool. Hey, anyways, enough with me plugging my merch, y'all. I'm out of here. Coach Coop, peace out. I'll see y'all in the next one.